When a respected businesswoman collapses unexpectedly, every specialist in the country tries and fails to save her. Just when hope fades, the quiet daughter of a humble cleaner steps forward, revealing a brilliance that shocks the entire world. What she does next changes every life in the room. Stay till the end and don't forget to subscribe to USA Drama 2.0 for more inspiring stories. Eleanor Hart was a name everyone knew, a woman of wisdom, generosity, and grace. She built her company from the ground up, supporting schools, hospitals, and research programs for decades. People admired her not just because of her success, but because of her heart. But one quiet morning, during a grand charity meeting in her mansion, Eleanor suddenly collapsed. The room filled with gasps. Guests rushed forward, paramedics arrived within minutes, and she was moved to the private medical wing inside her estate, a place designed to handle emergencies with top-level care. Doctors, nurses, specialists, everyone arrived. They worked tirelessly, but within hours, fear filled their eyes. Eleanor had slipped into a deep, mysterious condition that no one could identify. Her breathing became shallow, her pulse weakened, her body temperature dropped far below normal. Her grandson, Michael Hart, a calm, well-dressed young man, stood by her side with trembling hands. He was known for his composure, but today, he looked shattered. "Please, please wake up," he whispered as staff continued working around him. As the news spread, more experts arrived. Soon, the place was filled with specialists from different hospitals. By the end of the day, 100 doctors had tried. 100 doctors had failed. Every test came back unclear. Every diagnosis conflicted. Every treatment attempt showed no improvement. The medical wing grew silent, nervous, helpless. But fate had already chosen a different path. And it would come from someone no one expected. Someone who wasn't even part of the medical team. On the same estate lived a woman named Grace Williams, the head cleaner. She had worked for the Hart family for 20 years, quietly sweeping halls, organizing rooms, and keeping things in perfect order. Grace was known for being soft-spoken, respectful, and dedicated. But most people barely noticed her daughter. 14-year-old Amina Williams, shy, observant, and brilliant beyond words. Amina rarely spoke, but her eyes absorbed everything: books, instructions, details, patterns. She was the kind of child who could take apart a device and assemble it perfectly without help. She spent her nights reading physics, biology, and medical journals far beyond her grade level. But nobody in the manor knew this. To them, she was just the cleaner's daughter. That evening, instead of going home, Grace and Amina stayed late, as they often did. Grace cleaned the floors near the medical wing. Amina sat quietly on a bench, hugging her notebook, sketching ideas, equations, and notes she'd memorized from the books she read. She overheard the whispers. "Nothing is working. We can't stabilize her. Her condition is too unusual. We're running out of options." Amina's heart tightened. She had always admired Eleanor from afar, hearing stories of her generosity from her mother. She turned to Grace. "Mama, they sound worried." Grace nodded, wiping her eyes. "Yes, baby, Ms. Hart is very ill." Amina stared at the closed door of the medical room. Something inside her stirred, a pull stronger than fear. She grabbed her notebook and walked toward the door. Grace gasped softly, "Amina, you can't go in there." But something told Amina that she had to try. Something only she could see. Something everyone else had overlooked. Inside the medical room, the atmosphere was heavy. Doctors stood around, defeated. Machines beeped softly, showing Eleanor's weakening vitals. Michael looked lost, holding his grandmother's hand. Suddenly, the door opened slightly. The doctors turned. There stood Amina, tiny, shy, unsure, but determined. Grace rushed in behind her. "I'm so sorry, she didn't mean to." But Amina lifted her hand. I know I shouldn't be here," she said softly. "But I listened to the symptoms. And I think I know what's wrong." Silence. A few doctors frowned. One crossed his arms. "This is not the time for." But Michael stepped forward. "What do you mean?" he asked gently. Amina swallowed. The way her body temperature dropped. The way her hands stiffened. The sudden collapse, but normal brain scans. The irregular pulse patterns, and the unusual smell I noticed in the room when she came in. Everyone looked at each other. A doctor scoffed. "You noticed a smell, young lady, please." But Amina continued, voice steady now. "It's something rare, something hardly diagnosed quickly. It's a reaction to a type of old medicinal herb compound. It can cause a temporary state that looks serious, but it's reversible with the right counter formula." Michael's eyes widened. Are you saying you can identify this? Amina nodded slowly. I've read about it. I study medical books every day. I think I know exactly what is happening. The doctors exchanged glances, some confused, some doubtful, some irritated, but one elderly female doctor stepped closer. What compound do you suspect? She asked quietly. Amina opened her notebook and showed her sketches, symptoms, and notes. The room went still. The doctor's eyes widened. This is actually possible. A younger doctor whispered, how did we miss this? Michael stared at Amina as if seeing her for the first time. You're saying you know how to help her? Amina nodded again. I believe I can. They gathered around her. A child, a cleaner's daughter, a girl no one noticed until today. Amina explained everything. What she read, what she analyzed, the counter solution needed, the exact dosage, the steps required. One doctor stepped forward. This procedure is experimental. It's not standard protocol. Another had it. We've already exhausted conventional treatments. What harm can it do to consider this? Michael looked at Eleanor, pale and still, then at the defeated faces of the medical team, then at Amina, who stood calm, confident, steady. Finally he spoke. We try her method. Some doctors nodded, a few hesitated, but none objected. They prepared the counter solution, guided by Amina's notes. Every step was measured, checked, and supervised. Amina herself didn't touch any equipment. She wasn't allowed. But her instructions guided the experts like a blueprint. When the solution was finally administered, the room held its breath. Minutes passed. 5, 10, 15. Suddenly, Eleanor's heartbeat stabilized. A doctor gasped. Her pulse is rising. Her temperature is normalizing. She's responding. Michael clutched the bed rail, tears filling his eyes. And then, Eleanor's fingers twitched. Her eyelids moved. A soft breath escaped her lips. Michael, he broke down instantly. She's awake. Grandma, you're awake. Doctors rushed forward, checking vitals. Everything was improving. Everything was stable. Amina pressed a hand to her chest, relief beyond words. Grace, still frozen in shock, whispered, my daughter, my brilliant daughter. Michael turned toward Amina. You saved her, he said, voice shaking. The doctors looked at her with newfound respect. The cleaner's daughter, the shy girl no one noticed. The girl who succeeded where 100 doctors failed. The next morning, the entire estate buzzed with one story. Amina Williams, the hidden genius, saved Eleanor Hart's life. Eleanor herself, now awake and recovering, asked to meet her. Amina walked into the room nervously, clutching her notebook. Eleanor smiled warmly. You saved me, dear. You saved my life. Amina's eyes filled with tears. I just wanted to help. Eleanor gently took her hand. You didn't just help. You showed intelligence, courage, and heart. Many people study medicine for decades, but true insight, true understanding, that is a gift. Grace stood behind, wiping her tears. Eleanor looked at Grace. You raised an extraordinary daughter. Then she turned back to Amina. Tell me, what do you wish to become one day? Amina hesitated. I want to study science. Maybe medicine, maybe both. Eleanor smiled. From this day on, your education, your training, your future, everything will be supported fully. Grace gasped. Ma'am, that's too much. No, Eleanor interrupted gently. It's the least I can do. Michael stepped forward. You'll never be overlooked again, Amina. Not in this house, not in this world. Amina lowered her head, tears slipping down her cheeks. For the first time in her life, she felt seen, she felt valued, she felt powerful. Weeks passed. Eleanor recovered completely. Amina visited her often, studying new medical books Eleanor provided. Doctors from across the country requested to meet Amina, not out of pride but out of genuine admiration for her insight. The manor staff treated Grace and Amina with new respect, no longer the quiet cleaners but family. One evening, Michael found Amina reading in the library. You changed all our lives, he said. Amina smiled softly. I just followed what I understood. Michael nodded. And now the world will follow you. Amina closed her book and looked out the window. Her dreams were clearer now. Her path stronger, her purpose defined. The world had underestimated her. But not anymore. She was no longer hidden, no longer ignored, no longer the quiet shadow in the corners of grand rooms. She was Amina Williams, the girl who did the unthinkable, the girl who saved Eleanor Hart, the genius the world almost overlooked. And her story was only beginning. If you enjoyed this emotional and inspirational story, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to USA Drama 2.0 for more powerful and heart-touching stories.